This is college football's worst nightmare. A sport built on tradition, loyalty, and regional pride is unraveling right before our eyes. And the catalyst? A 19-year-old quarterback in Knoxville named Nico Iamaleava. If you're a big college football fan, you'd recognize this name. Nico was a five-star quarterback in the 2023 recruiting class, and he chose to go to Tennessee over many top schools, including Alabama, Oregon, and Georgia. And despite some of his ups and downs as a player, Nico was a starter on a college football playoff team in 2024. Yet here we are today, where according to multiple different reports, Nico is exploring the spring transfer portal, not because of playing time, not because of coaching changes, but because of a contract dispute related to his NIL deal. And it has gotten so bad that Nico is skipping team practices, to the surprise of the Tennessee program and more frustration from within, and has reportedly gone quiet with the team. There has been no communication with Nico and the Tennessee front office today, and this could get really ugly for the NCAA. When he agreed to go to Tennessee initially back in 2023, it was one of the largest NIL deals in college history up to that point. Nico was set to make up to $8 million by the end of his junior year. But as college football has evolved and changed, so have NIL deals. And at this point, it seems a foregone conclusion that Nico hits the spring portal. There is just more money out there for him, and big-time programs are reportedly lobbying to try and bring Nico into their program. This isn't just about one player. It's a nightmarish glimpse into the future of college football if things don't change, and if things don't change quickly. In 2021, the floodgates opened. NIL became legal, and college athletes could finally profit off their name, image, and likeness. A long overdue change to the sport, but I don't know that anyone ever envisioned it going like this. In the absence of a national framework, chaos ensued. Every state with different laws, every booster group with a different agenda. No salary caps, no regulation, just free market madness. At first, it was about sponsorships and endorsements, but quickly it evolved into something much bigger. NIL collectives have gotten involved, promising high school athletes seven-figure deals before they ever take a snap. These groups are not directly involved in the school, however, a lot of them are former alumni or donors to said college. These donations are often made to try and ensure that these athletic programs have the best possible chance to win. We've seen this become a big storyline just this offseason. Founder of Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, gave a massive amount of money to the University of Michigan, which was a big part in helping them land five-star superstar quarterback Bryce Underwood. This is where Nico Iamaleava comes in. Five-star phenom and the number one quarterback in the 2023 recruiting class. Nico is a player with a ridiculous amount of talent, whether it be his ability to make plays on the ground, whether it be his cannon of a right arm. Nico is still rich with talent and a player that has potential to be a first-round draft pick if his season goes the way that it could potentially go. But there are some potential concerns amongst Tennessee and the Tennessee fan base. Nico really didn't live up to the hype in his first year as a starter. He struggled with consistency. He threw for 2,616 yards and 19 touchdowns on the year, but a majority of those touchdowns came against inferior competition, and he only threw 9 touchdowns against SEC competition, 4 of which came in the final game of the season against Vanderbilt. Reportedly, Nico's NIL package was worth $8 million over the course of his career, structured by the now famous Spire Sports Group Collective, but according to sources, Nico wanted his contract raised $4 million around the time of the winter transfer portal. Tennessee and their officials would not budge on their price. Now that the spring portal is getting closer, Nico wants that $4 million raise. But unfortunately for him, Tennessee does not seem willing to negotiate on a long-term deal. However, as the sport has changed, it seems Nico probably is worth the amount of money that he is asking for, And it's just led to this complete mess where it's all he said, she said, and both sides, I think, are completely in the wrong. The NIL is a good thing, but there's one big problem with it all. These NIL deals aren't guaranteed like NFL contracts. They are private agreements. And now there's tension between Nico and Tennessee. It feels safe to assume that much of this is because of the NIL explosion over the last few years. Bryce Underwood has not taken a snap in college, and he got an NIL deal worth up to $10 million. Darian Mensah, a transfer from Tulane, got a massive deal to go over to Duke. Nico is right in wanting the money that he feels he has earned. However, it's just a completely messy situation, and that's where the problem lies. There's no handshake written agreement. Things get really murky really quickly because a lot of these deals are not guaranteed agreements. This isn't just a Tennessee problem. This is a precedent-setting moment that if a player of Nico's caliber can walk over a money dispute, what stops anyone else? And if Tennessee does decide to bring him back, what type of precedent does that set for the rest of their players? What type of precedent does that set for the NCAA? Does that mean players can just hold out of practices until they get the NIL deals that they want? When does this end, and when has the NCAA had enough? The transfer portal has become college football's version of free agency, with no rules, no contracts, and no consequences. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the exact problem with the state of college sports. Players should be allowed to transfer. There's no doubt about that. But there needs to be rules, regulations, and contracts in place to prevent situations like this from happening. Not just with the transfer portal, but also with the NIL agreements. Let's zoom out and take a look at the broader picture. This isn't about whether players should or should not get paid, because I think we all agree they absolutely should. It's about how they get paid and how unstable that system is. Let's go back to the earlier conversations. NIL deals are often funded by donors, not universities, which means if a booster decides to stop paying or the collective folds, players are left with empty promises. There's no union, there's no security, just a handshake and a headline. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, you have unhappy players. Players who feel they should be paid more money, and players who are leaving strictly due to contract disputes. And yet the NCAA refuses to make these changes in an attempt to avoid future conflicts. We now have high schoolers making multi-million-dollar decisions with no legal protection. Parents acting as agents. Coaches are recruiting through third-party middlemen. And fans are just watching their favorite players bounce from program to program like it's NBA free agency. If nothing changes, this is what's coming for college sports. Quarterbacks are going to demand pay raises mid-season. We saw this last year with Matthew Sluka at UNLV. Broken promises to the quarterback, which led to him hitting the transfer portal midway through the season, and he's now going to be suiting up for his third team in the last 3 years. Freshmen are going to start transferring after just one semester for better NIL offers and an opportunity to go and make more money. Teams are going to start losing rosters overnight to richer programs because they don't have the boosters to pay their top players. There are going to be lawsuits, injunctions, and agents suing collectives on behalf of unpaid players and players suing programs for unkept promises. And in the middle of all that, the thing that's getting lost in all of this is the fans. The fans are losing interest because the sport has become a free-for-all. What happens next, I wish I could tell you. What happens to the sport when Nico Iamaleava leaves because he wants more money? That goes against everything we as college football fans absolutely love about this sport. College football is at a crossroads. The solution isn't to end NIL, it's to structure it, to regulate it, to protect the players as much as the programs. There needs to be a players' union. We need enforceable contracts, ones written in ink from the programs to the players that ensure that the programs are not having players leave in the middle of the night like this current situation, but it also locks the players and they have to stick around unless there is some sort of buyout agreement. There needs to be a regulated amount of NIL money that teams can use in contract agreements and buyout opportunities for programs when things go awry. We need federal oversight, or at the very least, unified rules from the NCAA or College Football Playoff Committee, because this is not a structure that is going to stand for much longer if things continue to go on like this. Because if we don't figure it out soon, the game we love and care about just won't be the same anymore. Like I said, this isn't just about Nico. It's not just about Tennessee. This is about every program in the country, every fan base, every single player. Because the game we all truly love is starting to turn into survival of the fittest, and that should be concerning to everyone involved. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think the NCAA should do? How do you think this situation is going to pan out? Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.